Right. So this is a very interesting question I have. And if a student wants to get the answer of this question, then they can just skip right towards the end of this video. But if you're somebody so preparing for this OET exam and watching my video in hopes of learning how to answer such questions and how to get them right every time, then you must keep watching right now. Now, as I said, it's a writer's tone question because they very clearly asked me what is the writer's tone in the paragraph regarding this particular topic, right? Now, whenever you have a writer's tone question, it's extremely important that you understand that there's a certain way of answering that question. Writer's tone or attitude will always be determined based on the language. What I mean by language is that the writer is either going to use some sort of adjectives, some sort of adverbs, or all in all, the writer is going to use certain words which are going to clarify how the writer feels towards a certain topic. So we must keep in mind that all of this information, whatever it is here, I'm not looking for an idea. I already have my idea. What I'm looking for is the change in language when writer is discussing this idea. If I'm able to pick up on the kind of language the writer is using, then I will be able to answer this question easily. And I have to keep track of the writer's tone. Is it the same throughout the paragraph regarding our topic, or is it different regarding our topic in some areas? Now let's get to the question. So here I know that nationwide genetic screening, which is available to all newborns, could, in principle. So the writer is saying that it could, in principle, which basically means in theory, it could be a tool. That means something really, really helpful. Remember, the writer has called it a tool. A tool is something that you use to fix something, right? To do something better. So it could, in principle, in theory, be a tool to narrow the disparities that exist in today's healthcare system, providing every family with information about their baby's health, regardless of the socioeconomic and geographical factors. So it doesn't matter how rich or poor you are. If we had nationwide genetic screening, in theory, if we had it, it could, in theory, become a tool to provide this kind of information to every family about their baby's health. So the writer has right now, can I say that the writer has a positive tone? Yes. In fact, I would say that the writer is quite hopeful here, that it could, it could. He's very positive here. He's very optimistic here so far in this area. Now, let's see what kind of tone the writer has next. Then we see designing genomics-based newborn screening programs, which is the same thing as genetic screening, by the way. It is just paraphrased. Designing these kinds of programs that bring benefits equitably. That means obviously we have understood that they will bring benefits, but equitably to the population is, however, difficult. It's an extremely, look at the language, it's a very, very difficult task. We are not denying the benefits. We are simply saying that bringing these benefits equitably, equally to the population, that's a difficult task. Writer is not saying something negative, but rather the writer is saying it's something very difficult. Why? Also, given the cost. So because of the cost as well, this is an extremely difficult task. Equitably, we have to do it. That's also a difficult task. Then, and on top of that, there is an urgent need. That means it's very, very important that we do this. It's very essential, and it's, a ticking time bomb. There is an urgent need to generate what kind of evidence? Robust evidence, solid evidence that we can believe and trust on the potential benefits and harms. Look at the word potential. I want you to notice that. We said early on that, listen, whatever benefits there are, bringing them equitably to the population is an extremely complex task. And the writer here in the beginning is saying that it could become a tool to help every family learn more information about their baby, correct? So we are saying how the writer is hoping it can become something useful, these genetic programs, and we are not denying their benefits. But here, still the writer is saying that there is a requirement to generate some sort of evidence which is going to provide us more data on the possible benefits and the possible harms as well of the approach at the population level. Once again, population level, equitably to the population and population level before it can be implemented more widely. If you want to use it more widely, before you start doing this, please consider these things. Now, whenever a writer tells you that, why have I not turned off my phone? Sorry about that. So, whenever a writer tells you that before you do this, please consider doing this also, consider that also, think about these things also. What the writer is doing then in this area, the writer is warning you, the writer is cautioning you. And this I can say without even looking at the answer options. Why I can say that is because the writer is not denying that it could be beneficial, but the tone he has is of, before you do it, think about these things also. And he's not trying to make you feel extremely negative about anything. He's not also extremely positive. He's just a little bit reserved that before you do this, do these things as well. So, all in all, our tone is on the positive spectrum of things. And I say positive spectrum, that's because it's not extremely positive, don't get me wrong. It's a spectrum. And warning or cautioning is not necessarily negative because he's not denying anything. He's simply asking us to consider these things. Remember, now just because I've come to this conclusion, does that mean I should directly choose the answer option D, which talks about cautioning? No. It's very easy for me to use some word which I know students will understand from this paragraph and use it in one of the answer options and then change the rest of the meaning of the sentence without even considering. This is what students often do, and this is a very common trick. Instead, do your best to eliminate the other answer options also. Is he very optimistic or hopeful? I can think so. About their immediate implementation, now this is the part where I have an issue because the writer is clearly saying that, listen, before you start implementing it more widely, you need to consider these things. So he's not very optimistic about the immediate implementation. He's optimistic that there are benefits, but not about this. So I would say A is not the right answer. Then we have answer option B, advocating for mandatory screening for all newborns. That's interesting because I did not see him talk about how it is very essential that all the newborns are provided these screenings. That's not something that he's arguing for. So this automatically becomes the wrong answer as well. Then answer option C, criticizing their high development cost. Makes sense because here in this area, this person has actually talked about this kind of cost, right? So if I look at this area, cost, he's definitely saying that, listen, it is very difficult for us. It is going to be very difficult task because of the cost. However, they have not specified what kind of cost. Is it a development cost? Is it some other kind of cost? So this area about high development cost or low development cost also obviously is a little bit doubtful for me. So I'm not sure, but I know that he's definitely criticizing the cost part. So I'll keep that. I could very well choose this to be my right answer, even though the entire tone is still agreeing with this part, this little section. Let's see D as well. In my D answer option, I see cautioning about the lacking information on them. I think that a lot of students are going to consider the word cautioning and they're going to say, yeah, this does make sense. But a lot of the other students are going to look at the remaining answer option, lacking information on these screening tests. And they're going to think, well, they didn't talk about lack of information in the paragraph, so it doesn't make sense for me to choose this answer option. And I would go with C because C is something that I can very easily find here. And it is not wrong, right? But I want you to think about this. Let me give you an example. If I say that, and this is an example that I use very commonly in my classes, all of my classes. But let's say, if I say that most of my friends are doctors, that's my sentence. Most of my friends are what? Doctors. Doesn't it also mean that only a few of my friends are actually not doctors? I don't know the exact number, but I know it can't be a lot because most of my friends are doctors. That means I only have a couple of friends who are not doctors. When I say this, I can also give you an answer option which says this. If I tell you something about 20%, then you automatically know something about the 80% as well. So that's what they have done. If they are telling me right now in the paragraph that, listen, I'm cautioning you, I'm warning you, we need urgent, or we urgently need it. What? More evidence, robust evidence on the potential benefits and harms of this approach at the population level. Doesn't it also mean that we currently don't have it as much? If we don't have it, that is why I would say that we need it. And if I don't have it, then can I also say that I am lacking the information on them? Genetic screening programs. Because here, when I'm saying genetic screening programs, I am also talking about their benefit. I'm also talking about their harm. So it makes more sense for me to choose the answer option, which is actually covering this entire area. Meanwhile, cost is just one singular small detail. It's not wrong according to the paragraph, but the answer option covers more of the stone area, which is why my correct answer option should be D. Here, I have implied actually two things. First is how I read the question, what I'm looking for when I'm reading the question. I was looking at language. I was looking at the change of tone when reader moved from one idea to maybe the same idea, but he used the word however, and then he changed the language from positive to something more cautioning. The second thing I did was when I came to answer options, I didn't just stick to my idea. I also looked at what was available to me and I eliminated answer option A and B right away. And when it came to C and D, if they both seemed like good answer options, I still compared them and then I got the right answer. D. Don't choose an answer option. Don't eliminate an answer option just because you like it, just because you don't like it. Remember, you don't have to love your answer option, but you need to be sure that it is a better answer option than the remaining answer choices. So D is our correct answer. And if you have liked the video so far, then I would suggest hit the subscribe button, share this video with your friends who are also preparing for OET, and do let me know if you would like me to continue making the same videos. Bye.